What a year. 2017. I thought I'd seen it all, but who would have guessed? Little fucking kid, of all people, would outperform our president and become the troll of the year. The year isn't even over and I'm handing out the grand prize. Congratulations, Keaton Jones, you magnificent rat bastard. In the heat of an unexplainable anti-bullying climate in this country, a blubbering, inbred 10-year-old from Tennessee with a face that looks like a young sloth from the Goonies was catapulted to internet stardom out of nowhere. His mother recorded him crying on camera about how he was being so bullied at school. Why? And it was this huge drama thing. Released the video and in no time it went viral. When I first saw the video, I knew people were going to share it to feel good about themselves, but I, being the cynic I am, I say, okay, well, this is clearly another attempt of people so desperate for their 15 minutes of fame that they probably volunteer to be in an ISIS beheading video if they thought it would get them an agent. My initial response to the video was simple. I suggested that maybe, just maybe, instead of feeding into this kid's victim complex, we should be teaching him how to be strong and rational about bullying. Adults should explain to him how bullying is a part of childhood and be there to defend him in the event that he decides to defend himself and fight back. But nah, instead of teaching kids important lessons like standing up for yourself in this country, nowadays, being a crybaby little pussy is something to be cultivated and celebrated. Hold that thought for a minute. I'm going to give you a quick mental picture for you. For just a second, imagine a room full of grown adults, many of them who you probably recognize from media, very wealthy, very famous, standing up to a bunch of schoolyard kids who had too much fruit punch for lunch that day and decided to pick on some kid they didn't like. Just the thought is quite amusing, isn't it? Now you have an idea of the reaction on Twitter by every celebrity who reads the news. And since when did one kid getting picked on become such a newsworthy issue? It's like if people shared a video of a mother crying about her miscarriage and every celebrity retweeted it with the prayer emoji, like, oh, we're so noble. Oh, what a fucking tragedy. Such role model citizens we are. We spit on the peasants with critical thinking skills. So fucking brave, right? Yeah, you're gonna single this one out, but it happens every day. It's not a new thing. And don't get me wrong, I don't condone violence amongst children. If the violence breaks out, that's what the adults are there for. Well, some adults at least. The suckers who care about kids, not me. The children can go chase the basketball into city traffic for all I give a shit. But bullying has its place in childhood. It's a natural part of your development. It teaches you that the world is not all sunshine and rainbows. You know, a bully is this constant force pushing you down again and again and again, and keeps shoving you, saying, "What are you gonna do about it, faggot? What you gonna do about it, huh?" And you either capitulate to that force and become his bitch, his punching bag for the rest of the year, or you kick him in the nuts and watch him fall into a mud puddle crying for his mommy. You surmount your enemy. And let me tell you, as a former victim of this type of shenanigans, the best thing you can do is fight back. Individually. Don't just take it. If the bully is a ne'er-do-well, rotten animal, then you gotta match his viciousness at some point. If he just keeps coming back and going to a teacher is not gonna solve it, it usually does. But this is what they should be teaching the kids in the event that adult oversight fails them. Self-defense. It's a good fucking tool. They should try it sometime. And no, Wisconsin, gun safety doesn't count. That's cheating. Come on, there's a limit here. But don't even get me started on conservatives. And usually, kids would sort out the conflict amongst themselves. And, that's the way it used to be. Until now. Now they don't want you to learn life skills. Now, the weaker you are, the better you are, and the easier you are to mold. At my middle school, if you were involved in even the briefest of scuffles at recess, and you didn't start it, it didn't matter. You got the exact same punishment as your attacker. No questions asked. Now, before I moved to the suburbs, when I was attending private school in the city, I was bullied fucking every day for a period. And I got into this fight with a much larger kid, and I kicked his fucking ass because he was a pussy, and I called his bluff. Luckily, the recess monitor stuck up for me and knew my reputation as a good soldier, or rather, unfortunately, because the other kid, I got to stay home for a week and play Xbox while I was fucking stuck doing research papers. Fucking bitch. But now, absolutely nothing is tolerated in many, if not most, of the schools. They have this bullying shit on lockdown. Because guess what, moral crusaders? Bullying is not a new thing in this country or anywhere. We're not just becoming aware of it right now. In fact, we've been so hyper-aware of it that studies have shown that school bullying has actually decreased over the years. The upside to this, of course, is less bullying. But the downside is that when cases of bullying do arise, kids are going to respond poorly because they're too sensitive. Take 10-year-old Ashanti Davis, who hung herself last week in her closet. People have called her sad end an example of bully-side. This might be the most melodramatic term I've ever heard in a year full of them. If you're gonna blame somebody, blame the parents for not instilling self-esteem in her. And no, cyberbullying doesn't fucking count. If you don't like what somebody says on Facebook, guess what? You can fucking block them. Wow, whoever thought of it? If you think cyberbullying is a real issue, go impale your skull on your father's cock, you fucking nobody. And when a case like Ashanti Davis does arise, not only does the media blow it completely out of proportion, these fucking insufferable, failed parents start demanding that the schools need to step in and stop bullying. Fuck you, lady. You know, you can dodge the bullies at school, but it's the ones at home that leave you with the inferiority complex and that you're stuck with for life, where they scar you for life and they cause all the mental stress. And this point is crucial to the retarded story of Keaton Jones. At first, the video seemed to me like an opportunistic cash grab, which it was. No debating that. And you got some people speculating, well, that GoFundMe account is fake. Then why did the mother post the video? Was that shit fake too? Why would you just post a video of your own child blubbering, snot running down his cheeks, telling the whole world how a bunch of bullies poured milk down his fucking backside? Why? Why? Why do they do it? Why? You just hope people are gonna see your bitch-ass kid and feel sorry for him? What, you wanna raise awareness for your, excuse for a charity, your GoFundMe? Get the fuck out of here. You ever hear of multiple accounts? As in accounts online? Believe me, I know white trash when I see it. These motherfuckers are white trash. They're the family in the movie, the Southern Gothic thriller that comes over and visits the well-to-do relatives and keeps on pestering them about their hidden fortune under the floorboards, and they end up brutally murdering them and tearing up the floorboards for the hidden treasure. And if the Joneses aren't pocketing the donations, as some say, to be perfectly honest, I'd rather not know. The narrative that's been established does not deserve to be deprived of a drip of its own hilarity. This story is just too fucking good. This is where it gets interesting. After all the Hollywood softies finish their feel-good circle jerk, somebody leaks a post from Keaton's mother's Facebook page. In an astounding twist, Kimberly Jones turns out to be a Dixie flag-waving pig who arranges her family for Confederate-themed Facebook pictures, and the best part is, all those same celebrities who praised Keaton as a symbol of oppression suddenly realized how bad they got swindled, so they started backpedaling. Patton Oswalt saying, "No, he's just a boy. He didn't do nothing. All children are angels." Nice job covering your tracks, Patton, but sooner or later you gotta reconcile with the fact that you got conned by a bunch of redneck white trash. And he most likely isn't gonna grow up to be a Nazi. The kid, I mean. Being a real Nazi tends to be exceedingly difficult in this country, as it should be. Being plain old racist, though, not so much. And I think that seed is well embedded into Keaton's premature mind by now. Oh yeah, you think the kid is so innocent, Patton? But it gets even better. Turns out when they found out that Keaton, the real reason he was being bullied was because he was calling the black kids at school niggers. Granted, this is only a rumor, but it fits so well into the narrative. It's so much funnier that way. I'm not an investigative journalist in search of the truth. I'm a sadistic cam whore like everyone else in this sick fucking country, but at least I'm not, sadistic and ambitious enough to raise a kid, smack the shit out of him off camera, and fucking record his reaction. You think I don't know what those YouTube parents do? That trailer trash mama probably slapped the shit out of him before the camera started rolling. Cry, little bitch! Show him what they did to you! That's right. You can dodge the bullies at school, but it's the ones at home that you're stuck with for life. Until they die, at least. But there's no evidence! Don't ruin my lulz, damn it! This is too fucking funny! There's an old saying, if the legend sells better than the truth, print the legend. I think it absolutely applies here. Perhaps that's what Justin Bieber meant when he called Keaton a legend repeatedly.
You're a legend.
Keaton, I just want to say you are a legend. This kid is all time. He's a legend. Go check him out.
But of course, I wouldn't go assuming that Justin understands the concept of irony. I heard he came out as gay recently. Is that true? Unless I'm mistaken? Huh? Oh, he's a born-again Christian. Same difference. I was talking to God for a second. Sorry. He interrupts me. But it's all okay now, because Keaton's getting love letters from Snoop Dogg and got to meet all these famous athletes. He was even invited by Chris Pratt or Pine or whichever fucking Chris Six-Pack to the premiere of the Avengers movie next year in LA. And it just so happens the one kid who gets all these perks is a racist little rat bastard. Damn, liberals, you some gullible motherfuckers. You can't even see a real racist when he's right in front of your face. I'm always confounded by how these Confederate fucks can hold up both the American flag and the Dixie flag at the same time when they're literally polar opposites of each other. I almost wish it was the Civil War era except with Twitter, so that in no time these mush skulls would have two very confused armies surrounding their home. Joke's on all of you who donated. So I hereby award Troll of the Year to the Jones family. Very well played. I gotta admit, it feels good watching the goody-goody anti-bullying tear lickers get finessed by some Dixiecrat extra-chromosomed, road-killing, ketchup-eating, outhouse-shitting, backwoods hicks. And this is why you should never give to charities, especially on the internet. You should always assume they're all scams, even if they're not. In my opinion, it's so much more gratifying to help people you come in direct contact with. And I'll admit, I'm a major hypocrite on this. I'm not a very giving person. When I roll down the ramp off I-94 into the city, I make sure my doors are locked in case one of these homeless zombies finna jack my ass. But to those of you who are in a more charitable mood this holiday season, I would admonish you to refrain from donating to charities. If you didn't know by now, it is time you learn that they're fucking scams and funnels into the pockets of crooked businessmen. Just give to the people that you meet on the street or know personally. But they're gonna use it to buy drugs! Fuck you. If their one shot at a Merry Christmas is a fifth of Popov and a dirty needle in their scrotum, so be it. Let them have it. At least drive away with the pride and knowledge that you made that possible. Season's weanings. But where's their family? There's the homeless shelter. Maybe he got robbed at the homeless shelter. Why go back? At least under the bridge he can sleep with both eyes closed. Maybe he robbed someone else and got banned. Ain't that a bitch? Banned from the homeless shelter. Can't even afford a plane ticket to Honolulu. That's the first place I would go if I was homeless. All this man's got is some loose change that he had to suck a dick for. Dick sucking money ain't shit when you're homeless. You went to suck the liquor store Indian for a 40, nigga? And you have the audacity to judge the homeless for how they allocate their pennies. It's a handful of loose change off a highway overpass, for fuck's sake. You might as well throw the shit out the window like you're feeding the pigeons. At least the pigeons can find a decent meal. And then you have these fucking assholes who give to the needy, but then they say shit like, "Don't spend that on drugs now." Who the fuck do you think you are? You've got a window of seconds. Now is not the time for terms and conditions, motherfucker. You either do the deed, or you stare straight ahead into your dash like an asshole. That's your only two options. I choose to be an asshole. I can live with that. I've donated my fair share. When I was in Washington, D.C. on the 8th grade field trip, they let us roam free in the Smithsonian Museum District in groups. Instead, I ventured off on my own and donated most of my money to homeless people who sat conveniently in a row along the sidewalk. I wasn't skeptical. I just felt bad. But now that money actually means something to me, I say that as long as rich people aren't paying their fair share of taxes, I'll leave the random acts of kindness responsibility to them. Not that we can actually depend on them, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. Next time you see that bozo ringing the bell outside the grocery store for Red Cross, a fucking fraudulent charity, throw a grenade in the bucket and see if that sends a message. And a Happy New Year! Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please feel free to respond however you wish, as long as you bring any form of attention to my channel whatsoever. That's much appreciated. You're doing me a huge favor. Tell me how I can improve. The best thing you can do right now is subscribe. I'm not asking for very much right now. I really appreciate it, guys. Until next time, stay pissed and let the rage win. I gotta figure out my gang sign. Alright, fuck off.